Hi, this is Ghost with Corellian Run Radio, bringing you the strategy guide for the Operator 9 encounter in hard mode, Terror from Beyond. This guide is presented from a DPS point of view, but important details from other roles will be pointed out throughout the encounter. By no means is this the only method that works, but it is the method that works best for our operation group. You may have to adjust your strategy according to what works best for you. There are several differences between hard mode and story mode Operator 9 that make a busy fight even more hectic. The first and probably most important of these changes are the colored spheres that will appear during each color change phase. Those charged with clicking on consoles for that phase or standing in the center for that phase need to kill theirs very quickly or at their first available opportunity. Here's a top tip. If you select the Master Control in the center and put him as your focus target, it will tell you how much time you have for the data core burn for each phase, which brings us to the second change for hard mode. Hard mode, you have 70 seconds to burn down the blue data cores. Orange phase, you have 60 seconds. Purple phase, you have 55 seconds. And yellow, down to 50 seconds. It is vitally important for the tanks to control the adds, as any interruption to the channelers may result in a failure to destroy the data cores in the set amount of time. A failure to destroy the data cores results in an additional rectifier add being spawned, as well as having to repeat that phase along with the adds that spawned during that phase. For the color pairings, we made a melee DPS with a healer with a DPS channeling. Orange, we have a tank channeling with a ranged DPS in the center. Purple, we have a melee DPS channeling with a healer in the center. And the last phase, a ranged DPS with a tank channeling. We do these color pairings in order to handle the regulator adds that spawn during the orange and yellow phases. That leaves us with a ranged DPS in the center and one tank to pick up the regulators. They have quite a bit of HP, so that's why you need a DPS in the center killing it. You'll notice that we aren't in a terrible hurry to kill the data cores during this phase. That is due to the fact that we elect to fail this phase on purpose, which gives us a little extra time to clean up any adds, as well as position ourselves ideally for the start of the yellow phase. Yellow phase, we have the least amount of time, so we want to be ready as soon as the color changes to burn down those data cores of that phase. There you see our failure message, which spawns a rectifier droid. Make sure you point that droid away from the raid. Burn it down as quickly as possible. Those are the normal recognizer droids that spawned since we are repeating that phase. That's another reason why we picked the purple, because the adds that spawn during that phase are pretty light. We kill them down before finishing off that last data core. Looks like we get a bit of a late start onto this data core on the last phase. We also end up splitting up our DPS, but it's not a bad idea just to go to the nearest data core, since this is the shortest timer that you have, 50 seconds. Burn this down quickly. If you can, while you're running to the other data core and the regulator that's up is in sight, it wouldn't be a bad idea to toss some DPS like I didn't do when I run by. Just to get it down a little bit more quickly, since you will be getting another one. Now, once this data core dies, this transition is a little tricky because we ended up with some wipes due to some tank deaths. The tank that was channeling will need to taunt the boss before he goes after his sphere. The other tank will still need to tank the add that's up while all the DPS focus fire on it. Once it's dead, the orange tank can pick up the boss, giving the yellow tank time to finish off his sphere. Now comes part of the fight where the most amount of coordination is required. The spheres that you'd killed earlier in the fight come into play here, as the boss will put a deletion protocol on a random person with a random color. This particular instance, the tank was already orange, so his deletion protocol, he just wiped himself clean. But normally, it would be a random person with a random color, and someone with that color needs to stand next to in the circle of the person being targeted for deletion protocol. If you do not get there in time, that person will die, and you lose someone with a color. The way we do it is the person who is being targeted runs into the center, and we always send in the tank and healers first, and then if a second of the same color appear, we send in a DPS. The only other differences between the fight is the 8 seconds instead of 10 seconds for Black Obtuse, and you also have a couple of recognizer droids that spawn. I was a bad guy and I didn't go to the center like I was supposed to, but we had one of our tanks come out and stand in my circle. There are those ads I was just mentioning. Just kill them. They're just kind of an inconvenience, but they're really not hard to kill. As long as you communicate and pay attention to what your colors are and what color who is next in the deletion protocols, this isn't too hard of a fight to deal with. If two people with the same color go in to help cleanse the targeted person for the deletion protocol, then both people's debuff will wipe off. At that point, you are stuck without an extra color, and you just have to hope that that color does not come up. At this point, it is a rinse and repeat fight. Burn down the boss, kill any ads that appear, make sure you stand in your deletion protocol partner whenever your turn is up, and stand in the outer circles for Black Obtuse. A couple of things for the tanks to remember is to take turns tanking the boss and never let up on your aggro. This is to avoid an ability called Disinfection, which supposed to hit the second highest person on the aggro table. So as long as the tanks are top 2, that should be fine to deal with. The second thing to remember is whomever his turn it is to tank the boss needs to make sure that as he comes out of Black Obtuse to taunt, because he will occasionally randomly drop aggro and go after one of the range or the DPS or the healers. So just be ready with that taunt, pick up the boss, and carry on. One thing to note about the deletion protocol is that it seems to be, as far as the number of them that get cast during the fight, is random. I've been in encounters where he does it all the way to the very end of the fight, like this encounter, and I've also been in encounters where he only does a few, and the last 20 to 30% he doesn't use that ability. So just as a precaution, never stop paying attention. Here we lose a healer, I believe, to a random aggro drop, but since he was so low anyway, we just carried on and burned him down. Be sure to visit us at CorellianRun.com to catch up on your latest Star Wars: The Old Republic news and information. And you can email us at CorellianRun@gmail.com. You can also visit my livestream channel at twitch.tv/ghost, GHOZTT, and subscribe, and you'll get notifications whenever I go live with a operation. Thanks for watching.